Hey friend, listen. I know the world is scary right now. Corruption, war, inflation, demographics, degeneracy, disease, unrest, hatred, and despair. We didn't come here to tell you how it is, but that it's going to get way better.
Got a good thing coming, and it's all I need. Everything I wanted, just wait and see.
Better by Bitcoin.
Good.
Hey. Welcome to the show, Better by Bitcoin. I am Bondor Gilded Plebe on X. I got Anton. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great. How you doing? How was your Thanksgiving?
It's good, man. Got to hang out with the fam, see all the people, and just the usual stuff. Indeed. So as I was watching the intro, I was basically thinking like, wow, kind of hits different on a down price week. Or what are we at? Is this a down week, or has it been down? Yeah, it's been down for 2 weeks now. Price wise, yeah. The huge crash, the alleged JP Morgan attack of MicroStrategy. I don't know, man. Everyone's bummed about Bitcoin. We are in the standard regular bear markets, if you will. And yeah, we're just trugging through. So
yeah, if you're 75 years old and you just want to ball out for 1 year of your life and you just load it up on Bitcoin and you want the price to go, up 100% so that you can have more money to play with, and then the price crashes, you're super bummed. But if you're a somewhat healthy younger person with convictions about Bitcoin, and all of a sudden the price corrects and you're still earning fiat dollars in your job, you can buy more Bitcoin, then if you understand that Bitcoin's finite, that means you're getting more Bitcoin. But when you see the price go down and you know that what is essentially your net worth or your nest egg just decreased in value, it's almost impossible not to be a little bummed out. That's just human nature.
Yep.
But if the price has been going up for the last 2 years, which it has been, and you've been doing something like dollar cost averaging, which means that you're buying the same dollar amount or in a regular interval, like, once a month you're buying $1,000 or $2,000 or whatever your number is, or every week you're buying $50 or every day you're buying $5 with Bitcoin, whatever. You're getting a little less Bitcoin every single time that you buy Bitcoin. So now as the price goes down, if you're still doing the same thing, you're getting more Bitcoin, but your dollar amount's not going up. So what's more important to you? Is it more important that your dollar amount is going up or that you're getting more Bitcoin? And I think for all of us, for you and me, we would love to see the dollar amount go up because we have things that we need to do. There's things that we want to deploy our money to do. I don't know about you. I would love to buy just a big, beautiful home and have it be a place that's like this tranquil retreat with tons of space organized, beautifully decorated, beautifully landscaped. I want to host people. And if all of a sudden the price of Bitcoin went to $1 million, I could make my dreams come true as far as this thing that I want that takes dollars to purchase. However, if I'm still making money in dollar terms in my job, and all of a sudden the price of Bitcoin crashes, and I have conviction that for the same reason that I've been into Bitcoin for the last 10 years, that thing is going to continue. And this is just a brief correction in the price. Maybe it's what do you call it? A reverse Bart Simpson.
Yeah.
Or a V.
Inverse Bart Simpson.
Yeah, inverse Bart Simpson. Then that means that right now I'm actually getting closer to my goal, not further away. But you have to have that conviction. And what gives you that conviction? That conviction comes from having a fundamental understanding But here's my question for you. Can you have a fundamental understanding of Bitcoin? Because how do you know where Bitcoin is going? Do you know where Bitcoin is going? Do you know what Bitcoin even is or what it will be in the future? Or is the future uncertain about how Bitcoin will be used and what its place will be in finance and in money? And what's your opinion of that?
Yeah, I mean, both you and I have gone through the paces of doing the research and figuring out what this is. How does it compare? What's the fundamental properties? How's the game theory check out? What's the geopolitical situation? Like going through all of this stuff and being like, wait a second, this is like a fundamentally new technology that really does change stuff. And like there's going to be down days. It's like, I think Pierre Richard talks about it. It's like you're going to have as an asset monetizes globally from nothing, you're going to have volatility, and you can't have it any other way, right? Okay, so what does the volatility means? You're going to have 30%, 70% down days. It's just going to be awful. But that's allowing a lot more people to get in the door and the rest of it. But in terms of like your question of how do you think about this? Well, whether or not Bitcoin actually like makes it and it becomes what we think it's going to become, like whether or not it does, it'll either fail or it'll work, right? It's kind of binary outcomes. And every day it doesn't fail, it's working. But in the case that it fails, humanity is just going to learn what the problem was and fix it. So, and there's going to be hundreds of thousands of us out there already that are like, oh yeah, well, that was the problem, so let's fix it. And then boom, maybe it's not Bitcoin, but it's going to be the next thing that actually solves the problem, right? If it turns out that Bitcoin has a fundamental error in its architecture or game theoretical understanding of how we went through this process and all the different pieces in play, and then there's if there's some kind of missing link that prevents this thing from actually going forward, well, somebody's going to figure out a patch to that link. And I'm bullish.
Yeah. I get excited about the idea of Bitcoin failing. For the record, I don't think Bitcoin's going to fail, but let's say that it did. Let's say that there was quantum computing or something that hacks every Bitcoin seed word phrase and all the Bitcoin gets extracted and it just becomes valueless, or somebody, there's like some flaw in the code. I don't even know. I can't even imagine a way of how it fails, but let's say it fails. What happens then? Do we go back to fiat dollars as the standard, or do we go to a gold standard or a silver standard in a digital age? I seriously doubt that. We're not going back to paper currency. We're not going to a gold standard. So even if Bitcoin failed, we would just learn from what just happened, and then there would be a new and better Bitcoin. But every day that doesn't happen, Bitcoin is the new and better Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the standard, and it's already there. It's already working. We had talked about before we got on that Vanguard, for example, they said we're never going to touch Bitcoin. They're one of the big, what are they? Money manager? I don't even know what they're
all like everything: bank, money manager, private client, blah blah blah, everything, ETFs, etc.
They're a place that people put all of their wealth, all of their retirement, all of their investments, and it's one of the biggest companies in the world for this. And they said, we're not going to touch Bitcoin. We're not doing this. We're never going to do this. And then I think it was yesterday or last week, they said, you know what? It seems like this is here to stay. Our clients want it. We're doing it. We have $13 trillion. Put all of it into Bitcoin. You just, we're opening it up. And that keeps happening. And that's happening is for investments. It's happening for nation states, and it's happening for individuals. And that's going to keep happening unless Bitcoin fails. So in that sense, Bitcoin is here to stay, and it already is operating. And so, the price got up to $125,000, which is like, it's arbitrary. That's dollars. That happens to be the currency that you and I interact with most of the time. It just fell to $82,000, which was a 34% correction. And that seems brutal. It's already back up to like, I think today it was at like 92,000. I don't know. It's funny because you and I don't track the price on an hourly, sometimes not even on a daily basis. And so it's funny. It's like if your wealth corrected 30% in your like 401k, you'd be pretty bummed, especially if you're about to retire. But you and I have been in Bitcoin long enough. We've seen so many corrections along the way of over the last 10 years. How much is Bitcoin up? I don't even know. So we've seen multiple 30%, 50% corrections, 70% corrections. And yet in 2017, the price of Bitcoin was $1,000. In 2025, the price of Bitcoin has been over $100,000. That's a 100x increase in the last 10 years, while we've watched multiple corrections over and over and over again. Meanwhile, Bitcoin is just becoming more and more established as a thing that everybody knows about, knows how to use, is invested in some way, and that is continuing. So that's exciting.
Yep. And it's just going to keep going that way. Like, what are you going to do? You're a payment processor. Well, we solved the payment processor problem. We got all the stuff. What are you going to do to build the next product? You're going to have to start adding. We added one credit card, so we might as well add the rest of them, right? We added one crypto. We're just going to add the rest of it. But I mean, this is how people think, of course, not that you should add cryptos, but what are you going to do? Well, we're going to add Bitcoin, and then people are going to process their coffee with Bitcoin, and it's just going to be the next thing or whatever. And then no, like every company is just going to start building on this. Every company is going to start adopting the idea of, oh, well, we're just going to have a Bitcoin treasury. Just because that's what you ought to do. It's going to be safer than treasuries themselves. So why would we have treasuries? Like those don't even beat inflation. Like the inflation numbers are all garbage and bogus anyway. Like we need something that's more secure that actually does actually solves the problem we needed to solve, and isn't just some hand wavy BS. And so as people and even if you just want to diversify your portfolio into various things, as we saw over the last couple of years, where people started to realize even if my portfolio is going to be considerably better, reduced risk and better returns via Black-Scholes and all the other pricing models, like the legacy pricing models that dictate how people allocate capital across trillions of dollars via hardcore math. I mean, it's not that hardcore, but it's these formulas that essentially dictate what your risk is, or they tell you what your risk is, and then your mandates will dictate what risk you can tolerate. And so if you just add a little bit of Bitcoin to your portfolio, your risks come down and your potential for gain goes up. It's like, oh, okay, so we really should bring on Bitcoin just a little bit. And we really should just open up this door a little bit. But when you open up the door, you're not closing the door again. These doors do not go. It's not a revolving door, right? Technology does not get uninvented. We don't invent things that just fall away and nobody uses that anymore because it doesn't solve any problems for us. Toilets are going to be around. Sorry to tell you, they're going to be around. And it's the exact same thing with Bitcoin. So.
Yeah, we're at this point where I keep hearing, there are people, take AI, for example. There are people who are essentially Luddites, who, artists and creative people and people in, film and TV unions. And they're like, AI is just total shit. It just needs to go away. It's not blah, blah, blah. Well, it's not going away. It's here for the rest of your life. It's only getting better. You better figure out how to use it. You cannot put the genie back in the bottle. And the same is true for Bitcoin. So now you have, I want to say hedge funds, but money management, like Fidelity and Vanguard and Stifel and Charles Schwab and all these things, whatever they're called. I can't think of the name of what all these things are called. But you have banks and financial institutions and investment companies that are all having exposure to Bitcoin. So you have that going on. And then you also have this other thing, which is because Bitcoin is both store of value, medium of exchange, it's fungible, it's durable, It's all these different things. So I'll just give you one story. I have this guy. He was a friend of mine in high school and lost touch with him for a long time. Somehow he ended up in Peru, and he was falling on some very hard times, and he's essentially homeless. He needed money for food, and he's asking people to send him Western Union, but he's doing it on Facebook. He's got a phone. He's savvy and everything. And I said, I was asking him, do you have Bitcoin? He's like, oh, I know a little bit about cryptocurrency, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, not cryptocurrency, Bitcoin. Do you have a Bitcoin wallet? He's like, well, no, I don't. So I helped set him up with Blue Wallet. And I said, I do not want to send you money via Western Union. I don't even know how that works. I'm not going to a gas station. I'm not doing this. I will send you money on Bitcoin. I guarantee in Peru that you can find places to spend Bitcoin. He's like, I don't know, but I'm not going to turn down free money. So I sent him $100 worth of Bitcoin. And then he immediately tells me that he goes to a restaurant and they accept Bitcoin. So he's able to buy food with Bitcoin. Now later, he's still asking for Western Union from people. So whatever, but it's kind of like my grandmother. She was alive when email existed. Maybe we set her up with an account, but she's more comfortable using the mail. That was fine for her. So that is going on at the same time. People are still using these old antiquated legacy systems that don't even need to exist. They'll continue to use them, but now Bitcoin exists. You can use it, and there is no going back. And people are just going to find more and more ways to use it and to use it effectively. And yeah, that's just the reality that we're living in now. There's no going back.
Yeah. Correct. The email thing is funny because it's like, I remember my grandpa when he was on getting set with email. I've probably told you this story too, but it was like he went to a class, took a computer class, like got integrated, like tried to learn how to do the I think he knew how to type, but like didn't know how to okay, a PC, like how does it connect to the internet, like the whole thing, multiple class sessions over the course of months to like send emails. And for me as a kid, it was just like, oh yeah, email easy. Like that's like no problem. And then you just, though, that's just the way of the world in so many ways. When new technology comes about, the people who don't have this like rigid framework about how things are, how they ought to be, aka children, they're just completely moldable. You introduce them to something, they're like, this is normal. And then as the generations grow, like all of these things just work their way through. This is what we see with Gen Z and social media. Like we are millennials, and when we got social media, it was like right in college, had no experience with it. Hardly, the internet was just kind of this weird thing that we got to see as kids, see it develop, but we were playing outside on bikes, right? I'm not going to sit in line doing internet. But for Gen Z, Facebook was there when they were born, and then they were raised under the social media paradigm, and it has not completely, but in so many ways affected their lives. And now they're like many of them are over it, or many of them make their money doing that, or like whatever it is. But for us, it was oh, this is weird. How do I feel about posting pictures of myself online? Like, it's interesting. I'm glad it's private. Like nobody can see it publicly. But Gen Z is a totally different framework. They're just like, gobble it up. Pump it out, like whatever the consequences were. Right. It's just the same thing over and over again. It's going to be the case with AI. It's going to be the case with Bitcoin.
Have you ever had anybody, this is happening a lot lately, somebody will take a picture of you and then they'll put it in Grok or put it in Sora, and all of a sudden you're dancing. You're like break dancing. You're like, the first time you see this, it's just like, what? How am I dancing? I can't believe I'm seeing myself do this thing. It's so mind-blowing. But when a kid, like a young kid, sees this, they just go, yeah, that's AI. No video is real anymore. You can't trust anything. It's like, they're not that surprised or shocked by it. And so you have two things going on at once. And we have deep in our DNA, we're still these hunter-gatherer, like Paleolithic, Stone Age type people. Like that's where our brains have not really evolved past that. So you have that going on. That's still who we are. We're this like human animal thing. But also we're incredibly adaptable, and we adapt, and our brains adapt very, very fast. So you have both the deep genetic DNA of us just living in nature with no technology, and then you also have generation to generation, and even within generations, a very quick adaptation. So both of those things are going on simultaneously. And yeah, Bitcoin's just the next evolution of money. And somehow people have not discovered this yet. Not only that, when what just happened, when you have a 30% correction in price, so many people who thought that they were Bitcoiners or thought they knew something about crypto or whatever, they just disappear from it. They think it's dead. They like reset to factory settings. And so we're here not doing that. I don't know. I don't know what makes us different, why we are so convicted about this thing. Like, I don't think that we're necessarily like the smartest people out there. I don't think we have the highest IQs or anything, but there's something about our own journey, our own personal philosophy, and our experience that has made us incredibly sure that this is the next evolution of money. And so no matter what the price is, it doesn't affect our belief in this. It's like, for me, I don't know about you, if the price of Bitcoin were to correct massively, I'm talking like drop back to $15,000 or $10,000 or something, I would not get out of Bitcoin. I would be like, oh man, it's going to take a lot longer to get there than I thought. You know, it would slow me down a little bit, but I would still be doing this podcast about Bitcoin. I would still be attempting to build things on Bitcoin, because the only thing that changed was the price. Nothing fundamental about the technology changed. What do you think about that? I mean, would you be here if the price were to correct 90%?
Absolutely. Because one, I've already seen that, and maybe not 90%, but like both you and I have already seen that to varying degrees and varying depending on how you measure it, right? But also, as you're saying that, the idea that comes to mind is like, man, as a Bitcoiner, I've been through many stages of evangelism on Bitcoin. Like, there is something that happens to people when they get it, and it changes all the things that they think are important. It really is strange. Like, for me, it was like, oh, like before I got Bitcoin, it was like, oh yeah, I'm interested in my Facebook account, my Facebook profile. I want to grow my Facebook friends. This is how I network. This is how I get, like, literally get work. This is how I meet people, connect with people, see what my social graph is, and work through being a professional in the film world and the rest of it. It's like 100% Facebook based. And then once I started to understand Bitcoin, it was like, wait a second, the only thing that matters is telling these people about Bitcoin, like using my curated Facebook network to literally just burn the whole thing to the ground. I've told the story on here a bunch, and you've heard this a bunch too. But
I was also your Facebook friend during the time I watched you do this.
You were there. But so like that was kind of one of the things for me. But then there's other stuff. Like, I did barbecues. I like invited people over to like try and like, no, let's get together and talk Bitcoin. Like, we have to talk about this because this is crazy. Are you guys seeing what's happening? Right? Like, you guys, do you understand this technology? And maybe part of the impetus is that, like, so many people just don't get it. You feel like inclined to be like, why don't you get it? And just hitting the drum constantly. But the point I'm trying to make is that this didn't just happen to me. It didn't just happen to you. We process it in different ways, of course, but like, it happens to a lot of people. And, through our meetup, I've seen it happen to other people. Like, this is a couple weekends ago, I got invited to a house party where it was literally just Bitcoin and tea. Like, we are literally just coming, like, this person invited a bunch of people to her house to just talk Bitcoin. Like, that was the whole purpose of this party. And this is like here in LA, like, people who are very not finance focused. They're very art focused and culture focused people, right? And you're just like, wait a second, what? How does this happen? how does somebody like get so inclined to like literally upend their life, turn it upside down, and just hammer on Bitcoin for everybody they know? Like, there's something about this that changes people fundamentally, changes the way they see the world, changes the way that they value the things in their lives. And it doesn't just like, not just saying that as like, oh, it happened to me. It's like, no, you can see it happen in other people, and it grows and it continues to morph and change into a new different thing. Oh, like what you guys are doing at the meetup it's all right, you know, like it's interesting, but here I got this new idea for a coffee shop. Let's do it at a coffee shop in the morning, not the evening. Like that, it's just like goes on like this. Like we have to, like, there's like this unbelievable pressure on everybody who gets it to get it out. It's bizarre.
It's difficult to talk about it this way when the price has just had a big fluctuation. But Bitcoin is a just weight and measure. And I remember back in the day, maybe this was like 2008. I was on a train from Bratislava, Slovakia to Prague or Vienna. I'm not sure. I was like bouncing around in this triangle. And I had 5 currencies with me. I'd been in a few different countries. I'd been in Israel. I'd been in France. I'd been in the Czech Republic, which wasn't on the euro. I had all these different currencies. And depending on where the train was on this track, the currency had value or not. So if I was in the European Union, the euro felt valuable. But the second that I got out of the European Union, it almost felt like funny money. More so the opposite way, that if I had the Czech money and all of a sudden I was in the European Union, I'm holding the Czech money, it's just monopoly money. It is a total shitcoin. Now, it's not a shitcoin if you're in the country and you can spend it. As a Bitcoiner, you start to understand that the US dollar is a shitcoin. So for a lot of people that have, say you're running a business and you have good cash flow. So no matter if the US dollar is inflating or not, the price of your goods are going up, basically matching inflation. And so you're making money, and month after month, if your business is running well, you're making a profit. Those people feel like they don't need Bitcoin. But deep down on a psychological level, especially as a Bitcoiner, but I think everybody kind of knows this fundamentally, and this is that thing that happens, you know that you're dealing in an unethical shitcoin. And so it does something dark to your soul when you know you don't have a just weight and measure, when you're using whatever the shitcoin is of your country, this fiat currency, you're having to deal in this very tarnished thing. And so when you finally get Bitcoin and you understand this is out of the control of governments, it's out of the control of treasuries that can just hit a button and print money and inflate the currency and fund wars and fund all these things that you don't agree with and tax you, you have a monetary system that is outside of all of that. It's just code. You know what the code is. You can audit it yourself. You are 100% sure that no outside force is manipulating this thing. I'm not talking about the US dollar value. I'm talking about the actual like fundamentals of how the thing works and transacts. It gives you this sense of peace. It gives you the sense of peace that goes beyond whatever the equivalent US dollar amount is. And we're just thinking about it in terms of US dollars because we're in the US. But I love doing this thing where I go on like CoinMarketCap and I'll switch the currency to the Nigerian currency, or I'll switch the currency to Turkish lira or the Argentine peso. And sometimes Bitcoin will be hitting new all-time highs all the time in those currencies. So maybe the price went down in US dollars, but in Nigeria, if you're holding Bitcoin, you just hit a new all-time high. So we think of it in US dollars because it is just the global reserve currency. It's kind of like the top gangster of all the currencies right now. But one day Bitcoin will be the standard. And so, okay.
The most degenerate of all the gangsters.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, it's fascinating to think about it in terms of how it actually is practically Bitcoin is practically a world reserve currency that is independent of any nation. And it really does put that into perspective. Like when I lived in Korea, we were transacting in Bitcoin there. Like we had our wealth in Bitcoin. So it was like living in a foreign country is stressful, especially if you don't speak the language, because you don't understand what you don't understand. And so you don't like, oh, well, to buy food, I need a card or I need cash. To get cash, I need a bank account. To have a bank account, I need a phone number. To have a phone number, I need a valid visa that allows me to like buy a phone number in a foreign country so that I can actually buy food, right? Like, and it's designed this way, right? Like you don't want just random people coming into your country and purchasing or whatever, like just whatever, doing whatever kind of commerce they want to kind of do in your country without your knowledge or without your oversight or approval, right? Like it's by design, that's fine. But if you don't know, like if you're a foreigner there, you don't know what you don't know about the situation. You don't know that, oh, well, you know, what if your boss fires you? You don't know what the consequences for that are going to be. If my boss fires me, do I just like get on a plane and go home? What about my last paycheck? Like, am I not even able to get on a plane? Like, what's the protocol here? You just don't know. And so you're like, well, I just got to be a really good employee, right? Like, but if you're saving something in Bitcoin that's outside the system and outside any system, it really takes a lot of that pressure off. It really gives you this sense of ease that you're talking about, well, wait a second, we're fine. It's like good to go. Like you get this sense of actual sovereignty. You're not like literally groveling for someone's approval to allow you to eat a snack. Like it's just so much better. So
we were talking about how back in the day we would have these websites that we used, and then you search way back in your email and you're like, what? I don't even know what this website was. I had to log in, you go, and the website still exists, and you do the forgot password and it goes back and whatever. Or sometimes the website doesn't exist anymore. This has also happened to me where the company's just gone, right? Mm-hmm. But you and I have been in Bitcoin long enough. There have been times where I've had Bitcoin based on hardware wallets, and I essentially forget about it. I mean, I've been in Bitcoin for many years. I don't even know how many years. And so 1 year, 2 years, 3 years goes by. I haven't even touched or looked at this Bitcoin. And then you go dig up the thing and it's still there. It's just sitting there. It cannot go away. It's there forever. And that
until there's bit rot, but that's fine.
Okay. I'm trying to make an analogy here about, but you know what I mean? So,
of course.
Yeah, so, but let's say that your money's in your investment account with, let's say it's with, well, I'm not going to use Vanguard. I was going to use Vanguard. But let's say it's with Sequoia Capital or whatever. One of these companies that just went out of business.
Silicon Valley Bank.
Silicon Valley Bank. That's the one. Not Sequoia. Silicon Valley Bank. Yeah. And all of a sudden the bank goes away. It's probably going to be insured. You're probably going to get it back. But all of a sudden you can't log into your account. It's under somebody else's control. As Nick Szabo says, trusted third parties are security holes. There are so many places in our lives where we are trusting third parties, and when it's going fine, it's going fine. But deep down in you, you have this uncertainty because you know that you don't really control it. You're trusting somebody else. You don't really know what that organization looks like. There's so many, websites and companies that we use that exist on the internet, and you're like, this company could be 500 people or it could be 5. You don't know. You don't know what's behind it. You don't know where they store their data. I have been hacked so many times where it's like I get a notification, your information's on the dark web, and I go and I'm like, oh yeah, that's my birthday. Yep, that's an address that I used to live at. Yeah, that's a password that I used to use. That's an email that I used to use, and that's just out there that data is being sold. And we're exposed to so much of that. Bitcoin is a place that completely frees you from that feeling. You do not fear trusted third parties as far as Bitcoin is concerned.
The story that comes to mind when you're describing that is while I was in high school, there was a company called ING Direct, which
I know this. Yes. Yeah. I had money on it.
Yeah. So in high school, like amongst my friends, we're like, oh, if you deposit $100, you'll get $100 matching or whatever it was. Deposit $500, you get $100 matching, or like get a referral code and you get $100 matching. And like in high school, whoa, $100, it's like has to sit there for 5 years or whatever it is. It's like great, like awesome, free money in the bank. Like this is real money. And so we all did that. And so I had like whatever it was, $500 sitting in my ING Direct account. But then, and maybe you know the full story here. I don't remember the exact story, but if I recall correctly, that the company got bought by another company.
Yep.
So then its entire web interface changed and was like, oh, indirect by whatever it is. And then the company that purchased it got purchased by another company. And then, and I think this is all ING Direct. I think this is all the same thing.
I know the whole story.
And then that got purchased by another company. And every time you had to like log in and confirm that you're a real person and make sure that your funds are still there and reset your password and confirm your blah, 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 just goes on and on. And every single time you had to do it. And it was like, oh my, like, this is so, there's like no trust here for me in the legacy. It's like, yeah. Oh yeah. Here's your 401k. And like, bro, unless I'm holding the contents of my 401k, like it's just not real money. It's just not even there. It's like, where is it? Who has it? I don't know. And then 2 weeks later, so-and-so bought the bank. And so they don't have it anyway. And it's just, indirect turned into Share Builder turned into Capital One 360 turned into trading, Ameritrade, not Ameritrade. What do you got? TD Ameritrade. I don't know, man.
It's all so tiresome.
It's such a joke. The legacy world is like such a disaster. And people like fight their entire career to like support this absurdity. Just guys, give it up. It's a total joke. And everyone knows it and everyone sees it. Like for real. Like we all viscerally understand that it's all just a facade of BS all the way down. And the only thing that's actual bedrock is like Bitcoin, gold, like real things that actually exist that have no third party risk.
And there aren't that many, by the way. There are not that many things like that. And things that people think are like that are not like that. You have this belief right now because of the type of inflation that we're having. People believe that there are safe places to put their money. Like, I'll give you an example. People right now think that a very safe place to put your money is in cars that are sort of collectible cars.
Oh my gosh. I haven't heard that.
And the reason is because they have gone up in dollar terms, because people were looking for a place to put their money. So you could buy an old vintage Porsche and then it might go up it might be 4 times as much as what you paid for it. And awesome. You made money. The problem with those things is they are deeply, deeply affected by entropy. So you are constantly having to maintain those things. You cannot just put a car in your garage and have it just stay pristine. It does not work that way. Rats get into the engine and they tear out the wires. The tires go flat and then have like a flat spot in them. The oils and stuff start to congeal inside of them and leak, and plastic just wears out. It just wears out. Like I have a firearm somewhere, and it had a grip, a rubber grip, and I had it in a case somewhere. And I just thought I'll put it in there, and 10 years later I'll pull it out, and it seems like nothing can happen. It's just metal, right? Well, the grip was this certain type of rubber, and I went and pulled it out, and it was like Who Framed Roger Rabbit, the like gooey like it was like gooey on my hand. What the heck? And the thing just broke down. And you can buy a new one, you can trade it out and whatever, but where did that goo is all over the stuff, and that's true for cars. It's true for so many different things that we think that we're putting value in something that's just breaking down because of entropy. And so, there's a Bible verse that says, don't put your hope in things where thieves break in and steal, rust destroys, moths eat. That's not how the verse is, but that's essentially the gist of the verse. And when all of your hopes and dreams and wealth are in these things that are physically breaking down and decaying, that you have to put maintenance into. It causes a turmoil inside of your soul that you're not even aware of. And a lot of the problems that exist in the world as far as human psychology goes are because people's souls are deeply troubled because they don't have anything stable in their life to preserve value. They have no way of passing anything on. For a time, they could trust the government. They could put their value into money. They could put it into a bank that was FDIC insured, and then they could pass it on to their family. Well, now your inheritance is taxed, and as you sit and wait, your money is decaying because of inflation, which is money printing, which is just the government's counterfeiting your money and taxing it to zero. And so you won't even, by the time that you are of an age that you're going to die and pass your money on, it's not going to be worth anything anyway. And so you're like, oh, I got to chase value. I got to put it in the market. And now my phone is ringing. So anyway.
But yeah, it's basically, that is the case with everything, even with cars. Like, oh, let's say you're the best car maintainer there is. You're a mechanic, fully ready to go, right? But it's still going to cost you time. Still going to cost you taxes, still going to cost you all of the like inputs that you need just to keep it polished, right? Like the cost of keeping it polished, the cost of oil, the cost of gas, the cost of all these other like maintenance requirements to even have the thing. And you're like, well, you know, I purchased it for, let's say, $20,000, and over the course of the car, like every year, you need to spend how many a classic car that you don't drive regularly, but you just drive just enough, right? How much do you have to spend on that per year in terms of effort, time, money, taxes, the whole thing? Bro, if it's $1,000 and it's going to be like $800 just for the registration here in California, right? If it's $1,000 that you spend on that, that is literally 5%. It needed to increase in value by 5% for you to be above break even. 5%.
Yeah.
It's like, this is a disaster. It costs too much time to do this. Similar thing with houses. Obviously, houses have a lot more utility than a car you never drive because you live in the house, or you supposedly live in the house. People these days use houses as bank accounts, which is insanity to me, but hey, if you can afford it. I don't know I do not know where people are able to afford doing that, or the numbers add up. It's like, oh yeah, we spend, especially like a high end real estate, as you're well aware, we have in LA, we've seen a lot of really high end real estate come online over the last month, which is an interesting probably side thing on its own. But like, let's say you have $1 million or $10 million house coming on the market, right? Huge, expansive, multi-acre kind of property here in LA. How much do you have to pay just to do the gardening? It's got to be like $70,000 a year just for the gardening, right? The taxes are going to be another $100,000 a year minimum. And I mean, yeah.
And
no,
insurance.
the taxes will be not $100,000. The taxes will be like $200,000 or $300,000 a year, plus the insurance, like all of the cleaning you guys need to do, because it gets LA is super dusty. And let's say there's nobody living there because it's a bank account and you don't want to rent it out because the renters have a propensity to speed up the entropy process of a home. So
actually, a renter may not speed up the process, because a renter actually is going to like tell you if a pipe bursts or something.
Yeah.
And is going to somewhat maintain the property. Whereas having nobody in it, if all of a sudden there's a leak in the roof, like it could do massive damage.
The renter, like the ideal renter in my mind for a $10 million property doesn't care about that though. Like in my opinion, like you saw the story recently of the guy who was like, I'm going to butcher it, but it was something along the lines of, it was just a post on X. Start with, be the guy who purchases a Hollywood Hills mansion for, $10 million, rents it out for whatever it is, $15,000 a month, $20,000 a month, to somebody who pays the first month and the down payment and everything's good, and then stops payment and doesn't pay after that, but is posting on Instagram. And you can follow the guy and you can figure out like, hey, this guy's spending unbelievable amounts of money on rings and jets and diamonds and like clubs and bottle service and like the whole like crazy lifestyle that's posted on Instagram. You're like, what is, but he can't afford the rent. What's going on here? And then, oh, this guy just turns out that he is embezzling money from the city of Los Angeles to the order of 30, 40, 50, $100 million. Like that was his life. Finally caught up to him after 5 years, and he finally got evicted. So he finally was able to get out of the house, and he finally was able to spend, like, back to the guy telling the story. He's like, yeah, I'm finally able to recuperate the losses on my $10 million investment, which I've been underwater on and has been destroyed by my renter.
Yep.
And you're like, what?
A lot of people are going to hear that story and they'll be like, oh yeah, but that guy was able to afford this house. And like, yeah, that dude who owns the house is probably pretty rich, but the stress is real. That's the point. The stress is real. The stress that he was going through is real. And so, yeah, if you are putting all of your investments in these things that are causing you stress, it doesn't even matter if you could be making a lot of money off the investments, but if it's putting you through stress, that is having an effect on everything around you. It's having an effect on your relationships. It's having an effect on your health.
Yeah. And at a $10 million home, you probably don't own that home outright anyway, right? Especially if your purpose was to rent it. You are in a crazy big mortgage that you are expecting to be able to pay every month.
And right? The government wants those property taxes. They don't care if you're getting paid rent or not.
Yep, correct.
Property taxes are due. I just looked up. So basically the best investment of the last year, strangely, is silver, physical silver, or you could be invested in like SLV, the silver ETF.
As of the like last week, right? But it's a bubble. It's going to crash at some point.
Most likely. But I was just looking up how much silver a house is worth. So let's say you want to buy a house outright.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Let's say that you want to buy the median house in the United States at a $60 silver price, which silver was $15 like 5 years ago. So at a $60 silver price, which is roughly rounding up what it's at now, you would need 432 pounds of silver. Okay. So silver as a store of value or as a medium of exchange, not great. Like you cannot lift 432 pounds of silver. You're literally going to have to like cart it out, and it'll be labor intensive just to move it. Now I realize I'm talking about the actual like purchase price, which, let's say you wanted to do 10% of that. So that's still 40 pounds of silver. That's not convenient to move around or to store or anything. It's just a heavy, big box, right? Okay. In Los Angeles, I did the math, and for the median house price, it's 1,000 pounds of silver. Yeah. So even after this like meteoric rise in the price of silver, the equivalent for a house in Los Angeles is still 1,000 pounds. It's so ridiculous. Like silver seems like it's valuable, but it's really not that valuable.
It's so much. It's so heavy and so weighty that you should, in fact, measure it in terms of dumpsters, or like how many dumpsters full of silver, right? Yeah. Like it's like half a dumpster of silver for a house in LA. Like just give you an idea of the dimensions, right? Like it's absurd. This is this does not scale. Like this doesn't work.
No. I mean, think about what it would actually take to just go to a coin shop with that amount of silver and unload it out of your car, dump it out across the table, and have them assay all that silver. I like silver, by the way. I like gold. I like silver. I think they're cool as metals. They have a lot of uses. I personally, this is an aside, I have a feeling that silver and gold are being used in essentially the chips that are running AI. So I have a feeling, this is my opinion, that the run up in the price of silver is related to what is probably a little bit of a bubble in AI. So I don't think that this price, this is just me personally, is just a crazy opinion. I don't think that the price of silver is going to correct massively until the AI bubble bursts. So possibly the price of silver is going to go up again for like the fourth time. This is just my opinion. This is not like a common shared opinion, I don't think, with the people who are sort of the opinion makers on
or
these.
heavily researched.
Yeah. It's not like heavily researched at all, actually, on my end. This is just a vibe. It's a trading vibe that I get.
There you go.
I like gold and silver. I think they're cool. But yeah, like if Bitcoin failed, we are not going on a silver standard. It is just not happening. It's so incredibly impractical.
Yeah. I saw somebody's, it was like just a random Twitter account. You just come across a random Twitter account and you're like, oh, that's an interesting post. And you click on it. And it's like the hard money standards, like hard money is the backbone of civilization, blah, blah, blah. And then it has like on the top, it's like hashtag silver is money. And you're like, brain damage. It's just,
yeah,
no, like you can own silver and you can have it as a hedge and you can play it, trade and all the rest of it. It's fine. It's just, dude, it's not going to be a global world reserve currency when you have to move hundreds of thousands of dumpsters full of silver to like do a trade on the stock market. It just makes no sense. It's absurd to me.
Silver is a decent store of value. Like if you were to take your money averaged out over the next 5 years in dollars and continuously buy silver, you're probably going to preserve the purchasing power of where that money was frozen at the time. So let's say that the price of silver in 5 years goes up to $100 an ounce. You're going to be able to buy the same amount of Chipotle burritos or Big Macs or cups of coffee at Starbucks that you would have been able to buy if you were to average out that amount of dollars on the day that you purchase the silver. But you're not going to make more money off of buying the silver. And on one hand, let's say you were to take the silver and go and bury it in your backyard. And you can look at that place and you know that the silver's there and it's going to give you some satisfaction to know I have some value somewhere. You're going to feel a little bit of stress of what if the internet company comes and digs a trench through my backyard and finds the silver, or a dog digs it up, or there's like a flood and it upends itself. There's also a psychological toll that it takes to store that. That same psychological toll can be from Bitcoin, wherever you have your seed words wherever you have your seed words stored, they could be stolen, or, so this type of risk always exists in some form. There's no escaping it, in my opinion. So that's all just to say gold and silver is just, I talk about this a lot. I am not anti gold and silver. I just know, matter of fact, that for all the ways that money is used, Bitcoin is better by every metric. So
yeah,
you can have gold and silver. I'm not the one that's going to tell you that that's dumb. But if you believe in gold and silver and you absolutely don't believe in Bitcoin, I am going to tell you that is dumb.
Yeah. I'll be the first to tell anybody that owning silver is dumb, but you can hold silver. It's fine.
We can differ on this.
Totally. But it really brings perspective onto bring it back to the top, where just the price doesn't matter. The reason we're in Bitcoin is for this exact reason, which is it's fundamentally a better thing than the alternatives. And yeah, maybe there's going to be issues. Maybe there's going to be drama. Maybe there's going to be spam and bloat on, harder to run nodes and the rest of it. But people figure out engineering solutions to these things. And you can't really engineer solutions that change the fundamental nature of silver or gold. Like you can pour it in, you can print it into little coins. That solves some of the problems, right? But it doesn't really get to the core issue, which is, why don't you just, hey, instead of doing it like this, putting a stamp on it, why not have it just a mathematical thing where you can actually just divide it mathematically? because that's the actual problem that you're solving, is a mathematical problem. And it can be solved in Bitcoin because Bitcoin is just information. So it can process math, which is just information, versus gold, which is not information. And so to apply a information paradigm to a physical thing, you're just going to have difficulties. You can't solve it at the base level of its nature. It just doesn't work that way. And yet here we are with Bitcoin. It totally works because that's fundamental nature is information. So when we say the price doesn't matter, like it really doesn't matter, like at all, because it's just better money on all the different ways and all the different things that evaluate and constitute high quality money. So sorry, guys. Just invest in gold if you want to. It's fine. You'll get a return because it's way better than fiat. Yikes.
Bitcoin isn't going away. Crypto is going away, but Bitcoin is not going away. So every time that something like this happens where you have a price correction, just know all that means is you are not too late. If you're watching this right now, you are early in Bitcoin. So learn Bitcoin. You don't need to take all of your money and dump it into buying Bitcoin and then have this stress over, what is the price? What is the price right now? What is the price? Oh, am I losing money? But if you study Bitcoin and learn Bitcoin, knowing that these corrections keep happening, then you know that you're not too late. You have time. You have time to learn it. And yeah, take everything we said and then go find out for yourself. Go use the thing, and then you'll know. And you won't know until you use the thing. I keep trying to tell people that. You have to use it. You think that you can just kind of conceptualize it, but you can't. You have to actually use it. And once you use it, you will have this experience where you will realize very quickly that money has been lacking features for your entire life. And those features already exist. And they're all in Bitcoin. It's not that hard, but there is a little bit of a learning curve. And it will give you so much peace of mind in your life. It's something that if you're not in Bitcoin, it's something that you have definitely been missing.
When you say use it, that's like so true, because people are used to, I swipe a credit card, or I go to my bank, or I go to the ATM, or I hand somebody cash, or like whatever the legacy paradigm is for money. It's a very like, oh, well, if things go wrong, I can fix it. Like, or I can have somebody else fix it. Like my credit card got stolen. Like, what am I like? Oh, geez, I'll call the company and they'll cancel the card and I'm going to be okay. Like everything's going to be fine. But with Bitcoin, there is no third party to facilitate this. So if you mess up, it's done. Like, bye. Sorry. Which really, is stressful, but also it's like, that's the cost of freedom. That's the cost of not having a third party. That's the cost of not being beholden, asking permission to use your own money. And when you use Bitcoin and you actually send a transaction, you actually see this happen in real time from actions that you took and that nobody else could have taken. That's when it starts to click. Like, I remember one time showing somebody a transaction. They were just watching me do a Bitcoin transaction, like a slow transaction, not on Lightning, low fee kind of thing. So low amount, low fee, like this is just going to be a transaction that takes forever to confirm, but I'm doing it just to show you how a Bitcoin transaction works, right? We're talking through the process. This person was literally sweating while this was going down because they couldn't deal with the stress of where it's in the mempool. What is a mempool? Like, what's happening? Why isn't it showing up? Where did it go? Like the whole process, like the whole thing. And every Bitcoin, like we talk Bitcoin is a thing in the Bitcoin space. Like, I still get stressed out before my transaction is confirmed. Where did it go? where'd it go? Right? It's a thing. This is definitely a thing. But like for her, it was like literally sweating, like stressed, like anxious, could not deal. Like, and maybe, Bitcoin's not for everybody who's like that, or they would be better suited to operate with Bitcoin with a third party, but you can choose the third party and you can switch the third party on your own volition. And the whole with I think Antonopoulos talks about this in one of his talks or one of his things, but it's the idea of I'm going to butcher it. Permissionless has to do with permission. If you have a hard money base layer that doesn't require any permission, well, then you can build higher layers on it that do require permission. But if you have a base layer that requires permission, you can't build higher layers that do not require permission. And all of our legacy system is just permissionless or permissioned all the way down to the bottom. And Bitcoin is not permissioned at the bottom. It's totally permissionless. So with this reality comes a new paradigm, a new thinking, a new, like you said, when you use Bitcoin, it literally changes your mind. It changes the paradigms that you understand about what's possible in the world. It kind of opens, like, it's an unlock for so many things that were closed to us as children, going to the bank and having to talk to a teller to open up a bank account to put in $10 to, now I'm a saver or whatever. It's just, no, you don't have to do any of that. It's all gone. Bitcoin has obsoleted all of it.
What's the opposite of freedom? You can use your imagination. You can come up with a word. Freedom is the best possible thing. I would posit that. I think most people would agree with that. But you think freedom comes easy? You think it comes for free? It takes work to maintain freedom. Bitcoin is freedom. It's financial freedom. It's just freedom. Bitcoin is freedom. And you're going to have to pay a little bit of a price for that freedom. And just like anything with exposure to something, it gets easier. So yeah, it's a little scary to do a Bitcoin transaction, especially as the amount of value is greater. It's a little scary, but the more you do it, the more you get used to it and you stop having any fear over it. And that will happen to everyone. I don't know how long this is going to take. I don't know how many more 30% in dollar terms price corrections there are going to be. I imagine there's going to be a bunch. A lot of people disagree. A lot of people think max pain is just the price just goes up at a lower and lower amount forever. I think we've got a lot more time where there's going to be times where the price goes up a lot, and there's going to be times when there's big corrections and everybody thinks that Bitcoin is dead, just like has happened for the last 10 years. But I would just continue to say that Bitcoin is freedom, and you're not going to understand that until you learn it and until you use it. I'm not talking about when you put all your money into it. I'm saying learn it and use it, and you will understand that Bitcoin is freedom.
Indeed. Learn it and use it. I think with that, we got to sign off of here. But thanks for your time, Anton. Thanks for listening, everybody. And peace.
See y'all.
Thanks for tuning in to Better by Bitcoin. Bitcoin makes everything better. Like, subscribe, and follow us on X at BetterBYBTC, YouTube at BetterBYBitcoin. Not financial advice, mathematical certainty.